Welcome back to another episode of Offbeat Adventures. We're standing here on the grade of the former Grand Trunk Pacific Railway and later Canadian National Railway's Graham Subdivision. We are here on Gratton Road on the western side of the city of Thunder Bay. Today's going to be a bit of an unusual hike. Because in this area here, we're going to be taking a look at parts of the railway grade. However, there are lots of areas where the grade has become private property, and so all we can see of it is from where the roads intersect the railway grade. There are a few pieces that we are going to be walking on, not biking but walking on. So here we basically have the grade crossing Gratton Road here, and you can see, and again I do apologize, there's probably going to be a lot of glare here. You can see here that there's been a road that has been built on top of the former railway grade here, and you can see it stretching back to the east. And then here on this side here, you can see that there's been virtually no development of the railway grade. It's been completely grown in with all kinds of vegetation and growth and things like that. You can kind of see this area here where it's all sort of very, very flat. It's a lot of farmland and things like around here. What little farming that we do have in this area here, because it is not a great sort of farming area. And so the grade would continue this way, and it's going to head towards the next station on the line, which is going to be Baird Station. And we're going to come across Baird Station when we get to the next access road. So maybe if I come over here, we can see a little bit of the grade a little bit better. Again, stretching to the west. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to hop in the truck. Luna's not happy because she's having to sit in the truck and wait this out. But we're going to pick it up on the grade on the next road, which is Town Line Road. In the meantime, but before we get to that, I'm going to show you some maps so you can basically see where we are. And so I'll show you a historic map, and then I'll show you a modern map. All right, so we've moved our way a little bit farther to the west. We are on the railway grade here. The nearby property owner has allowed us to sort of come on here and do a little exploration. It's a very nice little section. It's very, very well defined. So this is an opportunity for us to do our usual history lesson. So this line was constructed by Grand Trunk Pacific, the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway Company, between 1905 and 1908. It was going to be an attempt by the Grand Trunk Company, which was one of the oldest railway companies in Canada, dating back to 1852, to build another transcontinental railway line. Now the problem was the Grand Trunk Company was not overly keen on building, a complete transcontinental line because of the cost and because of, issues revolving around profitability. So what ended up happening was the Grand Trunk Company formed a partnership with the Canadian government, whereby the Grand Trunk Company, under the name Grand Trunk Pacific, would build the western portion of the line, everything from Winnipeg west to Prince Rupert. And then the Canadian government would build the eastern portion from Winnipeg to New Brunswick under the name National Transcontinental Railway, or NTR. So again, the railway line was built between 1905 and 1908. And shortly thereafter, unfortunately, there were some issues that arose regarding the operation of the line. And so the Grand Trunk did not want to operate the NTR, so the Canadian government had to take it over. And what they did was they created a new entity to do so, the Canadian Government Railways, which included a bunch of other smaller lines as well. And so at that time, so this happened in 1915, at the time the name of this line changed. So it had originally been the Lake Superior Division of the Lake Superior Division of the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway, and it became the Fort William Subdivision of Canadian Government Railways. Too many names here. And so it operated as part of the Canadian Government Railways network until 1919, when the CGR and the Canadian Northern Railway were amalgamated into a new entity, Canadian National Railways. And so that year, the name of this line changed. It became the Fort William and Wraith subdivisions of Canadian National Railways. And then later that year, the name changed again. It became the Lake Superior subdivision of Canadian National Railways. Now, around that time, work began on sort of rationalizing the rail lines in the area. And so in 1923, the name of this line changed again. It became the Canadian National Railways Graham Subdivision, which is what most people kind of know it as. And at that time, a new bridge was built to the west, basically linking the old Canadian Northern line, which now become the CN Kashibawi subdivision, to the old Grand Trunk line. And that was near a place which would become known as Conmee Junction. And so in 1924, the name of the line changed again because it was split into two. The Crest Subdivision, which this section was part of, and then the Graham Subdivision. And that was in preparation for the abandonment of this part of the line, because again, that bridge had been built. And so the westward trains were going to follow the Kashibawi subdivision to Conmee Junction, and then they were going to split off from there. And so in 1925, the line was split into three lines. It was split into the Crest, the Wraith, and the Corn subdivisions. And in the spring of 1925, this section was abandoned. So essentially everything from Fort William west to what was called Dog River Junction, which was on the north side of the new bridge that crossed over the Matawan River, was abandoned. And so this piece of line, unfortunately, became history. Now, the rest of the line continued as the Wraith and the Corn subdivisions until 1931, when the name reverted back to the Graham subdivision. And the line continued to operate until 1994, when the entire line was abandoned by CN. So again, we're in this very, very beautiful area. It's a beautiful day today. We're still in April. It's amazing that we're able to get out and explore at this time of the year, and very grateful to be able to come onto this this piece of property and have a look around. Again, kind of gives you an idea of the construction. This is kind of one of the easier places to build the railway line through. You can see it's relatively flat. All around here is basically farmland, as we saw in the first segment. And so again, this is what we kind of see in this area. Unfortunately, sections have been bought up, and so we can visit some sections. In other sections, we have to just sort of pass by and just sort of get pictures and videos and things like that from the roadway. Lena's all excited because she has an opportunity to run around and be free. So here we actually have an old little ditch, and you can actually see the ditch work on the other side. And so I don't know if this is an original culvert or when this dates to. It looks old. Get Luna to get out of the way here. All right, looks like a very, very old style culvert. So you can see some more of the fields in the area. Again, very big sort of agricultural area. There's some debris and things like that on the sides, but again, it's very difficult to tell what time period that would have dated to, because again, this section was abandoned almost 100 years ago. So again, we don't know, you know, what dated from that period and what would have been accumulated here in the years afterwards. It's kind of cool and crisp here. My fingers are getting kind of a little cold on the camera. You can see there's a big chunk of metal over here, some cans. I'm guessing that's just modern rubbish. The grade itself looks like it's in pretty good shape, again, for being abandoned all of these years ago. And so we're starting to approach the end of our little section here. And you can see everything becomes sort of grown in again. Okay, so basically this brings us to the end of this section, and so we'll pause here and then we'll resume when we get another opportunity to record.